get out early tonight. We never do. But I didn't write anything down by design because I feel like talking about Barbara to a room full of people who have the fortune of meeting and working with and getting to know Barbara, I think that if you knew Barbara, you knew how big her heart was, and my goal, just for right now, is to speak from the heart about my experience and getting to know her. Sean mentioned I've taught here. If full-time, I started in 2014, but I was an adjunct for a few years before that. But when the college took a risk and hired me on in 2014 as a full-time faculty member, Barbara welcomed me with open arms. And I literally mean open arms. Put her arm around me and took me around, and I met through the interview process at Wiley, but she made sure that I met all of the people that are here today, kind of like a mother would to a kid. And I realized very soon that her belief in me and the love that she, use that word not sparingly, the love that she had for me for this program was so real and so genuine and so truly heartfelt that I never had time to doubt myself because she wouldn't let that happen. And I watched the way she taught. She taught students the same way. And I said, this is how I've got to do it. And she shaped in ways that I don't know that she ever understood. She shaped my mindset for teaching. She shaped the way that I approach not just challenges in the classroom, but daily life. Knowing that I had this lawyer who was, by all accounts, brilliant. She's a brilliant appellate lawyer. People spoke about her and said that the best thing about her work was she wasn't wrong. If she did something in the courtroom, it was spot on. And so having this person that treated me, again, I feel like a son, is a debt that I don't know that I could ever satisfy. But I like to think that going forward, and I catch myself doing it a lot more now that I'm reflecting on it, just putting that kind of good energy, that kind of love, that kind of caring out into the world. And I guess by way of example, some of the things that I don't know have ever been shared, I shared a little bit of it with Steffi after the memorial, but the Hot Topics Committee that we held. Barbara, if you're mad at me for saying this, just slap me later. We covered all of these controversial topics, or things that were, they were in the news, and it was stuff where people had, they had hot takes, is what they're called now, but, people had strong opinions about it. Domestic violence and Islamophobia was one that Dr. Penna, I remember, he helped with a lot, and all of them were fantastic. We had panel discussions, and we bring in guest speakers, and the one that stands out to me to this day, because I think it was one of the most difficult for us to be able to present without it seeming exploitive or without it maybe even being offensive, was it involved student homelessness. And we were able, we met with students beforehand who we had known were students that had experienced, if not homelessness per se, housing insecurity, and watching the way Barbara talk to these students to help prepare them, and really kind of sell them on this idea that if you come speak on this topic, if you come share this to the greater community, there's some students, there's adults, there's faculty members, there's people that'll never be able to understand unless they hear it from you. And we got to know these students, and when it was all over and done, it was a fantastic presentation, great success. I found out later that one of the students touched Barbara so much because of her story and her experience that Barbara went to the ATM and gave her a significant charitable donation to help her, continue on her path. She, was still going to school, and it was just this expression of selflessness. And I've never seen anything like that before from anyone, and I want to be that kind of person. And it was amazing, and that was just one tiny little little thing. Personal stuff, when I would be challenged in the classroom, I'd get pissy. I could go and close the door and go, you'll never believe this. And of course she'd believe it, she'd give me, but she would always, and she would be straight up, and if I was wrong, what's wrong with you? I mean, she would. What are you thinking? And she would use colorful language, and she would, but I guess, it would be the biggest, I think what's been weighing on my heart is that this idea that there are people that you come across that influence you and impact you, and I think Barbara, in everything she did, she tried to have that kind of influence on people, that positive influence, and you get on the wrong side of Barbara sometimes. You could end up in a situation where it's like, okay, we're gonna work this out. But at the end of the day, there was always, for me at least, this feeling of mutual respect and love and everything else. And the biggest lesson that I learned from her that I hope to be able to pay forward is be in the moment, be present, be now, stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves. Realize it's not all about you. And as she once said to me when I was having one of my moments, she said, Cary, what more do you want? What do you want? I said, what more do you want? You're upset right now, but look at all you've got. Great job. Beautiful family. Smart. Relatively good looking. and that, okay, that last part she didn't say. But that was Barbara. I mean it when I say the day that she came along, we broke the mold. There'll never be another one. And I want to be able to, a little bit of her that I can carry forward into the world and instill in my children and instill in the students that I have the privilege of teaching. I hope that we can keep it going, and I hope that she knows wherever she is, wherever the energy goes, that she is so deeply missed, and I am forever thankful for the love that she gave to me, to the school, and everyone else. Thank you.